So you've probably seen this ISO 9001 thing stamped on products or websites, right? And you might have wondered, what does that actually mean? Is it just some fancy sticker a company gets to put on the wall? Well, today we're going to deconstruct it because it's so much more than a certificate. It's actually a practical blueprint for building a better organization from the inside out.
And here it is, the official document for the ISO 9001 standard. Yeah, it looks pretty formal, maybe even a little intimidating. But what if I told you that this whole thing really just boils down to three incredibly simple, yet really powerful ideas that can totally transform how any organization works? Let's break them down. Here's our game plan. First, we're going to get into why this whole standard even exists. Then, we'll unpack its three core ideas: how to think in processes, how to build an engine for improvement, and how to plan for problems. And finally, we'll see how all these pieces just click together to form one elegant system.
So let's kick things off with the big question. Why bother? Why does this standard even exist? Well, think of it like this. An organization can decide to build its house on sand, or it can build it on solid rock. This is about choosing the rock. It's a strategic decision to create a super stable foundation for growth and to just get better and better over the long haul. And this really gets to the heart of it. At the end of the day, the goal is to create a system that just delivers consistently, every single time. This means happier customers. It means you're proactively looking at what could go wrong and what could go right. And it gives you a credible way to show the world, hey, we're built for quality and you can rely on us. All right, let's dive into the first big idea. To really get ISO 9001, you have to start thinking in processes. And I mean, everything is a process. From how you make your coffee in the morning to launching a multi-million-dollar product, it's all a process. The standard has a name for this. It's called the process approach. But don't let the fancy term fool you. It just means seeing your work not as a bunch of separate random tasks, but as a series of connected steps. It's kind of like a recipe, right? You've got your inputs: flour, sugar, eggs. You perform activities, mixing, baking, and you get a desired output, a delicious cake. When you think this way, you can actually control the results. This diagram, which is straight out of the standard, shows that exact flow. See? You start with sources of inputs, which give you the inputs themselves. That could be raw materials or just information. Those are transformed by activities to create outputs, which then go to the receivers, who are, your customers. It's a really simple, logical, and powerful way to see how anything gets done. Okay, on to our second core idea. This one is the engine that drives the whole system forward. So if the process approach is like the map of your organization, this next concept is the vehicle that's always moving, always pushing ahead. It's called the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. You might hear it called PDCA. It's a super simple 4-step method for getting better all the time. First, you plan what you want to achieve. Then you do it. You implement the plan. Next, you check the results. Did it actually work the way you thought it would? And finally, you act on what you learned to make it even better the next time around. Simple, right? And here it is in action. It's not a straight line. It's a continuous loop. You plan, do, check, and act. And then what? You start planning again, but this time you're smarter because of what you just learned. This cycle is the absolute heartbeat of ISO 9001. It's a constant commitment to never, ever stand still. Okay, so we've got a map of our processes, and we've got an engine to drive improvement. But let's be real, the road is never perfectly smooth, is it? So this third key idea is all about proactively dealing with all that uncertainty. I mean, the real world is messy. It's full of twists and turns. Bad stuff can happen, but amazing new opportunities can also just pop up out of nowhere. So how does a really well-run system handle both sides of that coin? The answer is something called risk-based thinking. And this is not about having some separate department for problem prevention. No, it's about building awareness of risks and opportunities into everything you do, into every single process. It's all about being prepared and being proactive. So here's the crucial point. Risk-based thinking looks in both directions. On one side, you're looking at risks to prevent or reduce the bad stuff from happening. But just as importantly, on the other side, you're actively scanning for opportunities to enhance the good stuff, like finding a better way to do something or jumping on a new idea. Okay, so we've got our three core principles: thinking in processes, the PDCA cycle for improvement, and risk-based thinking. Now for the really cool part. Let's see how the standard weaves all of these together into a single cohesive system. Let's pull up that PDCA cycle one more time, because this diagram is more than just a good idea. It's actually the framework for the entire ISO 9001 standard. Each major section, or what the standard calls a clause, maps directly onto one of these 4 steps.
And check out what's right there in the middle, the hub that holds the whole wheel together, leadership. The standard is so clear on this. None of this works without real commitment and direction from the top. That's what Clause 5 is all about. So, following the cycle, we start with plan. This part is covered in Clause 6. It's all about setting your goals, and crucially, this is where you build in that risk-based thinking to figure out challenges and opportunities right from the start. Next up is do. This is where you put that plan into motion, and it covers 2 big areas. Clause 7, which is support, is about making sure you have all the right resources, the right people, tools, and knowledge. And then Clause 8, operation, is the core of your business. It's the actual work of making your product or delivering your service. Then we get to check. How do you even know if the plan is working? Well, that's where Clause 9 comes in. Performance evaluation. This is where you monitor, you measure, you analyze your results, and you get a really clear picture of what's actually happening versus what you planned would happen. And finally, we act. Based on all that data you got from the check phase, you take action. You fix what's broken, you improve what's working, you make things better. This is the whole point of Clause 10, which is simply called improvement. And this is what kicks the whole cycle off again. And there you have it. The real secret of ISO 9001 is that it's not some dusty, static checklist you have to follow. It's a dynamic, living system. It's a blueprint for building an organization that thinks in processes, is always improving, and is ready for whatever the future throws at it.
So I'll leave you with this thought. Think about it for a second. Whether it's a huge project at work or just trying to perfect your morning coffee routine, what's one process, just one, in your life where you could apply this simple plan, do, check, act cycle? Because the real power of this blueprint is that it truly can work anywhere.